My name is Jimmy Zehner. I am the CEO of IT Network Solutions Group. I handle the technology forward and basically run our MSP here in Sarasota, Florida. We are located in Sarasota, but we do have offices in Kissimmee and Ocala as well. So IT Network Solutions has been in business for a little bit over 14 years. It took a while for us to get moving. We started out around $500K a year in gross revenue, and we hovered around $1.5 million up until about 3 years ago, and now we're a little bit over 3. So Zero Trust was never on my radar, and I guess about a year and a half ago, I was at an Exchange conference, and Danny Jenkins was on stage explaining not just the benefits, but the need to have Zero Trust put in place. And in the beginning, I really discontinued it because I just felt it was going to be too arduous to maintain or manage or to even implement. So, but as he was explaining the responsibility that we have as a business owner to our customers to protect them, and then also understanding that protects ourselves as well, I really saw that it was very important to investigate this. Because we really never had any major security issues, Zero Trust wasn't on my radar. But as you investigate, as you see what's going on around us, that it becomes more and more of an issue that it's not if something will happen, it's when something will happen to us. So because of that, we decided to implement ThreatLocker in order to protect ourselves and to give ourselves the ability to be protected in a way which we weren't even aware of in the past. For the past couple of years, I knew that security was the new up and coming thing. As we go through going all the way back to 2000 Y2K. IT MSP providers are always looking at ways to improve their product or to move with the times. So security over the past 2 to 3 years has been on the radar for myself and other MSPs, but I never looked at it in the perspective of Zero Trust. I always looked at it from a perspective of endpoint protection, virus software, and so forth. So not to say that endpoint protection isn't necessary, but this is a game changer. Zero Trust is basically makes everything else secondary to what we consider our primary security stack. About a year and a half ago, when I saw Danny speak at the Exchange conference, I really wanted to find out whether or not they do what they actually do. And so I was in a boardroom, and there were a few people in my boardroom that actually started to use ThreatLocker, 2 of them actually, and they explained the process, they explained the support, and they explained how it improved their organization. And I felt that it was very important, to get started right away. So literally at the show, I basically said, hey, we want to move forward, and I signed right there. I came back to the office, and I was all excited. I told my engineers, I'm like, hey, I got this product here. I already signed for it. We're moving forward on it. And they all basically said, we're not doing this. And I even had one engineer that threatened to quit because they just saw it was going to be a support nightmare across the board for all of our customers. So in my infinite wisdom, I said, hey, listen, this is what we're going to do. Not only are we going to implement it, we're going to implement it first on our toughest customer. That way you can see whether or not this is going to work across the board. Because to me, it wouldn't make any sense to implement it on a customer that's real easy. And then by the time we get to the tough customers, it becomes unmanageable. So we did that, and I can tell you, we obviously started in learning mode, and my engineers were kind of freaked out. They're like, okay, when we take this off learning mode and go live, what's going to happen? And we did. And so we waited, and we weren't hearing anything. And this is a pretty complicated customer of ours, and we knew it was going to be a problem, but we were wrong. So I'd say it took about 4 days before we heard somebody say, "Hey, I'm having an issue trying to install this." And that's exactly what we wanted to have happen, because we want to know when customers are trying to install something or trying to use something differently than what we expect them to. So ThreatLocker did help us have control over our customers, but also our techs as well. And I know in the ThreatLocker world, or in the ThreatLocker organization, that you enable it on all your machines, and we do the same. And for us to protect ourselves first is even more important than trying to protect the customers, because if we can't protect ourselves, we can't protect the customer. Personally, I haven't done a lot in the university, but we do have techs that are working in that almost every day. We do have one tech that's a certified cyber hero, and we're working on 2 others, and possibly a 4th. As far as the support from ThreatLocker, we're extremely pleased with it, and they go above and beyond. We had an issue probably about 6 months ago, and we thought for sure it was ThreatLocker, and it turned out to be another piece of software. But what was amazing about the ThreatLocker support was that they were more helpful in helping us find the issue than the other piece of software that was causing the problem. They weren't interested in pointing fingers. They were interested in helping us figure out our situation and helping us figure out how to resolve our problem. I can say that once we enabled ThreatLocker, after about 6 months, we saw a considerable number of tickets go down. We would average around 115 tickets on a daily basis, and right now we average around 45. I believe a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's computers sitting out there that used to be open to anything to be installed, and used to be open to the end user have the ability to do whatever they want with the machine. But it was okay because we had virus software on the machine, and that was the mentality. Now the mentality is more so of the ThreatLocker zero trust mentality, where they are business machines, and businesses do not want people to install programs that aren't business related or not productivity driven applications, and that's what we're helping our customers do. The majority of our customers had really very little to no idea that we enabled ThreatLocker or a zero trust platform system. We did go through, and we ran a really aggressive implementation just to make sure that we had all of our customers covered. We had some that noticed it out the gate, and those were pretty much our problem children. And then we had quite a few that had no idea that we implemented or installed it. The ones that maybe had a problem with it, or the ones that saw that there was an issue, they were the ones that really needed it the most. I would think some of the biggest challenges that we have on the horizon in our industry will have to do with protecting systems in the cloud. There's so many different cloud solutions for so many different productivity softwares as a service, and so forth. So really that's going to be our biggest challenge, is trying to figure out how do we wrap security around some of these cloud applications that aren't part of the endpoint, that are in the cloud, and we're just basically accessing them from the endpoint. So I would say our goals right now are to continue to provide the best possible security for our customer, and maintaining a level of professionalism. My experience over the last year and a half working with ThreatLocker has given me a trust in a solutions provider, or in a vendor that I've never had before. A trust that I know the product works. A trust that I know that if we don't have an understanding, or the product doesn't work according to how we think, that support will walk us through it and help us through it. To have a product that does so much as it pertains to the operating system and the applications around the operating system, when you're dealing with ring fencing and blocking PowerShell, you would think that there would be a lot of complications or a lot of issues, and we don't see that. And when those issues do come up, they're resolved fairly quickly, even to the effect that our customers don't see it and they don't know it. So I would say that if an MSP is out there or a provider, solution provider is out there and they're not using ThreatLocker, they're not going to be helping themselves out. And for us, it's our number one security tool that we use. And I don't foresee that changing anytime soon.